Welcome back to round 3 of the 2016 HOTLANTA tournament. Today we're watching the back 9 from round number 3, and these are the scores so far. And we'll be starting today on hole number 11, which is Skull Island, which is about 306 feet, but it's uphill, and so it plays about 350, 330, somewhere in there. You must come to rest inside the Skull Island, or at least be touching one of the rocks to be in bounds. Everyone usually takes a driver and throws it out to the right. Snappy's throwing a mid-range straight up the middle. Works out perfectly for him. This hole is usually either a 2 or a 4, depending on if you make the island or not. Oh, GORT splashes down just on the edge of the island. I'm going with the spark. I thought this was going to be a pretty good shot. Landed kind of in the center of the island, but then just took that hop and then a little bit of a roll and jumped out of bounds. So I'm going with the soft Cenis. Just tossing it up, hoping to get my 4. That really was a bummer too, because I thought I'd thrown a good shot and it just barely got me out of bounds. Everyone else is going to pick up a birdie here, it looks like. Ooh, GORT just a bit outside.
Nice catch.
I think I rushed that one. I just putted it with the Cenis since it was there, since it was not that long of a putt. It's just a little left side. Those Mach 3s do not catch unless you hit them in the center. So, looking at a 5 here, which is a double bogey, and really just derailed what was a really good round. So, we move on to hole number 12. Hole 12 is, I believe, 330 feet downhill. You can't see the basket from the tee. Everyone basically throws a hyzer here most of the time. Although it's a pretty good range for my thumber. So I usually go with a thumber on this hole.
Lead that card.
Looks like I'm going with the spark. That moonshine spark that I like to throw. And there it is right by the basket. So GORT's the furthest one out here. Hits that putt pretty darn good. Mach 3 says no thank you. So that's really unfortunate for GORT. Snappy's almost cut through. We've only seen 2 holes in this video, and we've seen 2 putts that would have caught on almost any other kind of basket. At least any premium basket. So the rest of us tap in for birdie, and GORT gets his par. Now we move on to the monster, par 5, hole number 13. Coming in at over 1,000 feet.
Perfect.
And that fence on your right is OB, and the path that you're teeing off from is also OB. So you're really just trying to get it over the path down there, right where he's at, near that short tee pad. I went with a sidearm with a defender. I didn't really like the way the wind was going, and I wanted to just play it safe. I just turned it over just a hair. Got nice distance off of it, though. GORT throws a really nice shot there. So where I'm at here, I basically just got to throw a hyzer into the fairway. I was able to get a pretty good one off, though. I threw a snowline ballista there. Got me right back in the middle of the fairway. So Snappy's in good position. Not sure what he's throwing there, but basically with a big arm, he can just throw a hyzer around all those trees into the open field and have a wide open look for his last shot and try to get a birdie. GORT had to challenge the fence line a little more because he doesn't have quite as much distance. I'm still pretty far back, so I went with the roller here with the hatchet. Got a pretty good roll on it. I believe it came up just a little bit short. I remember thinking it was 40 feet short. And then I got up there and it was probably about that, maybe a little less. I would say GORT's probably about 360, 350 feet out right here. And it's a little bit uphill. He puts a really good move on it, but he's challenging that right side. Hits a tree, but just stays on this side of the fence. Josh going with a sidearm here. I'm not sure if that's his giant or his defender. Now he loves that blue giant that he has, but also know he's been throwing some sidearms with that defender. Snappy throws a beautiful upshot with a rock there. Josh has got a really long look at his birdie. Plays it safe. There is a creek back there, and it's a fast green. So you don't want to be too aggressive if you're putting down for birdie on this hole. So I'm just outside the circle, and I'm putting into a fast green. Really don't want to put it into the creek down there like I did in the last tournament here. End up coming up short. Still having to make a pretty good comeback here with the judge. So I'll get my par, which gives me a par on every par 5 on this course, which is not what you want to do. Snappy gets his birdie, everyone else snags a par.
Oh.
Hole number 14, I believe it's about 280 feet. Most people choose to throw the righty hyzer on a low line, just like Josh Childs is going with here. He turned his just a little too much. Caught that tree halfway. Not a very good shot for myself either. I was going with the spark. Just didn't get the anhyzer on it that I was trying to. GORT shows us how it's done though.
Come on.
Throws his T-bird right up near the basket. So Josh with a nice little chip up there. Snappy, for the first time in a while, not looking at a birdie. There's a beautiful little touch skip shot. I'm chipping up with my Cenas. Snappy needs to make this to keep this bogey-free round alive. And he does. Snappy's playing great. He's 7 under for the round already. Oh, 8 under for the round actually with that last birdie. Tap in for my par. We move on to hole number 15. Hole 15 is in the short position, which is my favorite of the 3 positions on this hole. It's not that hard of a hole, but you definitely don't see everyone birdie it every time. You want to throw it about 260 straight and then have it fade left just a little bit into a gap in the trees. If you get a little too far left, there's a cedar tree that just basically engulfs a 15-foot wide space on the putting green inside the circle. I went with the pane. I believe it was a gold line pane. I'm really liking the pane right now. That's a sweet disc. Mid-range with good flight and a nice left hook at the end. Thank Matt Bell for giving me that one. So I threw the pane a few times this weekend. So me and Josh get the birdie. And GORT gets the birdie and the CTP. I remember at the end of the day hearing that GORT actually got the CTPs on hole 15, 16, and 17. And I think they were $60 each. So that was a pretty good move on GORT's part. Going with a low line thumber with a, I believe that's my felon. This hole I used to always just throw a thumber over the top of all the trees, but they just keep getting bigger. So I saw Ryan Watson throw a low skipping thumber on this hole and decided I would play it that way this weekend. Josh missed a little left off the tee with his compass. Still had a long look at it, gave it a pretty decent bid. I ended up pin high just too far right.
There you go.
Luckily put it in there with my judge for my birdie. Snappy for another birdie. There he is. Continuing this good round. Gort looking to get his birdie. And he does. Wow, that CTP there is really close. And Gort must have taken that during the second round. So he must have put it right against the pole. This is hole number 17.
Yeah,
One of my favorite holes in the course. It's just beautiful. Look at this shot from Gort. Unreal.
That's
It's about 370 feet and really tight tunnel off the tee. And a low ceiling out there. You got to just hyzer flip something and have it go dead straight. I threw a hatchet and I thought it was going to go right to the pin, but it was a little high and caught that branch and it dropped it down probably 40 short. Snappy looks like he's going to go with a rock. And I'm not sure if that was a good one or not. Josh is going with that beat up Saint that he likes to throw. I believe he threw it pretty good. Might have turned just a hair too far right, but I'm guessing he's looking at a birdie. So Snappy must have hit one of those trees on the right side, about halfway down. Very nice touch on that upshot, though. I'm going with the judge here. Dead center, just a bit too high. Quite a few of those putts today that looked pretty good and just barely missed. So Gort, there he is marking another CTP. And we move on to hole number 18. Hole 18, I believe, is about 360 uphill. Plays more like 410, 420 feet. And there's a little hill just to the right of the basket. And that's pretty much where everybody is going, down that hill, or throwing it into the hillside. If you throw it and land just to the left of the basket, you'll stay up top, but you skip pretty far left, and then if you miss your putt, you go down that hill. So a lot of people just toss it to the right side of the hill and hope that you don't roll down. I believe Josh and I both hit pretty high up on the hill, but it looks like we both caught a little roll. I went with the defender off the tee there. Snappy landed up top, sinks a nice putt for birdie. Having a tough time getting good footing down there. Trying to get set where I don't slip. Putting with the judge. And I'm able to put it in there. So we move on to hole 1, our last hole. And the only par 4 on the course. Probably the only course you'll ever play that has 1 par 4 but 3 par 5s. But they actually have an extra 9 holes on this course that we're not playing today that has another par 5 and maybe another par 4 or 2. Snappy smashed that one. I went with the ballista off the tee here, just threw a soft Annie and let it kind of flex into the middle. So the really big smashers can throw it into the mouth up there near that manhole cover you can see, or whatever that is. But most of us just try to lay up before that and throw a mid-range on the second shot. Josh looks like he threw a great one there. Gort was a little left, so he has a little more hyzer to work with here.
Shot.
Mine landed right in the middle, so I'm just going to go with the Cenis for my upshot. I believe I might have come in just a hair short. Snappy was a little too far left, so he has to go with this weird sidearm shot with a rock. I believe that's a rock.
Fit in that basket.
Almost threw it in the basket, which would have tied the course record. Now he's got a long comebacker. This would be to shoot a 50, which would be 11 under. Course record is a 49 held by Dustin Perry in like 30-mile-an-hour wind back in an A tier, the Atlanta Open. So Josh is going to tap in here for his birdie, and that'll get him to a 54, which is 7 under par. And that's exactly what I'm going to shoot. So Josh and I are still tied going into the last round. Snappy has propelled himself up to the lead card with that round for sure. So all in all, everyone had a pretty decent round. Gort with a really slow start. I had to really struggle in the middle there, but after that, we all played some pretty good golf. I want to thank Latitude 64 for sponsoring me and Carla Seward for filming, and we'll be back with round 4 very soon. Thanks for watching.